Good evening, everyone. Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Nathan Shunt joining you live for this weekend edition of Nate at 8 on this Sunday evening. And we're going to be recapping what we had for this weekend. Was overall some pretty pleasant conditions. I know not ideal to start off the weekend, but certainly was a gorgeous Sunday across the Ohio Valley. And a lot of what we saw today carries over tomorrow. The biggest difference is just temperatures are even warmer. And then the story really starts to change by Tuesday. We're going to be discussing some overall warmer temperatures going into the week, and from there we're going to be tracking some thunderstorms, tracking some days where it's starting to turn a bit humid overall, some unseasonably warm temperatures. There's a lot to really dive into coming up on this edition of Nate at 8. But again, we'll keep it here, especially in emphasis on the next couple of days. And again, what we saw for today, for the most part, carries over into Monday. A lot of sunshine. Temperatures look even warmer going not only in Monday, but into Tuesday as well. That'll likely be our warmest day before we do get a cool down with a cold front passage going into the middle of next week. And that's when we can not only see thunderstorms, but even some severe thunderstorms as well. Tyson joining us this evening saying hello, joining us on YouTube. Hello there, Tyson. Thanks so much for tuning in. Adorable pup there you have. And that is indeed Tyson Chicken Nuggets. And what a great name. I love it. Thanks so much for tuning in. I read that Tyson that didn't get the chicken nugget in there. I get it now. Well, hello to you. I have an adorable dog. Thanks for tuning in for this edition of Nate at 8. So without further ado, let's jump into things, shall we? And discussing those temperatures first. And again, some warmer temperatures on the way. The current temperatures today topping off in the 60s. Sunshine. It's gorgeous. Now our temperatures are going to fall back into the 50s, and we'll watch our temperatures likely even fall to back to some pretty cool values going into tomorrow morning, as we're going to see quite a bit of cooling overnight, thanks to not only very little to no cloud cover, but still some dry air. These dew points, 30s, 20s, and this is way off our scale of dew points are into the 50s to 60s to 70s. But just to show, we have some very dry air in place at this time. Now, what we will notice as we go throughout the week, despite dealing with some very refreshing feeling air in place this weekend, you'll notice that at times this coming week, and it's likely more Tuesday as well as into Thursday, are the 2 days to watch coming up this week, where we had this at times over the past week where we saw it turn a bit muggy. So we noticed a little of that mugginess feel to the air, right? It's getting a bit muggy. We'll notice that likely Tuesday and Thursday for this coming week. Those days do coincide to be our warmest days then likely as well. Temperatures likely in the 80s Tuesday and pushing 80 Thursday. And really Monday not far behind it. So those are the three warmest days we have. The humidity, those dew points will start to pick up Monday, but likely not to the extent where it's really feeling muggy to us. I think that's more reserved for Tuesday and then as well as into Thursday. And those 3 days, again, we're near, if not into the 80s, the warmest of the three likely Tuesday. And we could very well even reach towards the mid 80s and sneak in another 85 degree plus days for the month of April before we end the month. I think we have that potential. Again, it's going to be close going into Tuesday with those temperatures picking up and getting even closer to the mid 80s. And we will have yet another cool down that likely will follow going into this next weekend. Temperatures will fall back 60. So we get into a pretty similar pattern in that regard, that our coolest days will likely coincide again with next weekend as well. Those temperatures look to fall back into the 60s. Joe joining us this evening saying, hope you had a great weekend. I sure did, Joe. I hope you did as well. I know yesterday less than ideal, but certainly enjoying the blue skies and sunshine today. It was gorgeous across the Ohio Valley. So no surprise that, clouds of radar, well, it's still very quiet as we're tracking barely a cloud in sight. And even when we broaden our view, there's some additional cloud cover further towards our south and to the southwest, but nothing here locally eastern Ohio, the northern panhandle. And again, a lot of what we saw today will carry over into tomorrow. A few passing clouds likely at most. Again, still starting off with some chilly values tomorrow morning. Temperatures are dropping off quite a bit from a chilly start, then a warmer end. Temperatures are topping off well into the 70s going into tomorrow afternoon, and we can end up about 10 degrees warmer with respect to today. So we're not far from 80. We're pushing that mark going into tomorrow afternoon. Again, humidity still low, so it's feeling warm, but it's not feeling humid at all as we go throughout Monday. By Tuesday, then, we see that further increase in cloud cover likely occurring for the morning hours. Only a slight chance to start off the day Tuesday to deal with any rain. Our temperatures not as chilly chilly to start off Tuesday, and we're noticing the humidity pick up. So again, it's getting a bit muggy. We're noticing our temperatures start to pick up a bit more as well, and likely topping off even into the 80s going into the afternoon. And again, it looks like the first half of Tuesday is mainly dry. It's only a slight chance that we're picking up a shower, even going into midday and the early afternoon hours. But by that late afternoon into the evening is when chances are going to start to pick up. And this is when we're likely spotting some showers and thunderstorms developing. And these will then carry over into Tuesday night, especially that early part of Tuesday night until we get closer towards that midnight mark. And then a lot of this activity will likely wane going into Wednesday morning. Still could spot a shower going around the middle of next week, but rain chances do look to drop off then for the daytime on Wednesday, and our temperatures will likely drop off some as well. And we'll see high temperatures likely around 10 degrees cooler from Tuesday going into Wednesday afternoon. Melissa, hello to you. Thanks for tuning in on this Sunday evening. Hello there, Melissa, and hello to everyone tuning in. I appreciate it as always. And the issue with these thunderstorms we're going to be watching for into Tuesday is the potential for some severe weather, and we can certainly see some heavy downpours within these thunderstorms as well. The possibility, is there for the potential for isolated flooding. But I think the biggest story to watch, unfortunately, is the potential for severe weather. I think that can certainly be more impactful than any flooding concerns that we have going throughout Tuesday. Because again, still some heavy downpours within these thunderstorms. But unfortunately, this is what we're really keeping a close eye on at this point. The weather's very quiet tomorrow. Even Tuesday morning is fairly quiet, but things can turn quite active later into the day Tuesday. And this has the potential, unfortunately, to be a very serious situation, as we could be dealing with some very large hail. We unfortunately have that potential. There still is some uncertainty with this, so we're holding out hope that the severe weather risk will lower some, and we'll likely gain better confidence tomorrow. We're still a couple days out from this, so I certainly urge you to stay tuned for the latest going into Tuesday. But this is something we're not taking very lightly, and we're keeping a close eye on, because there is that potential as it stands now. Again, once we gain better confidence, then we can say, well, with more certainty, obviously then going into Tuesday, what we could be dealing with. And we'll likely start to gain that again going through tomorrow and into Tuesday morning. So I urge you to stay tuned. But getting back to the point, what we could be dealing with the potential for is some very large hail. We don't see this very often in our area where we're dealing with some very large hail potential, but it is there. We could see hail reach and possibly exceed 2 inches in diameter. That's roughly on par with, a medium-sized hen egg, or just an egg, right, in general. We get up to about 2.5 inches in diameter. You're getting closer to tennis ball. So that's some very seriously large hail that we unfortunately have the potential for. And if we're dealing with significant impacts, that would be it. That unfortunately we could be dealing with some very large hail within these thunderstorms Tuesday. Again, something we don't typically deal with here into the Ohio Valley. So that's why I want to put an emphasis on that. And yes, we still have the potential for damaging winds. Tornado cannot be ruled out. We have the potential there for isolated tornado. All threats are on the table, but certainly this time around, which again is not typical for us, this time around the potential is there for some not only large but some very large hail, and we could deal with, again, scattered to even numerous severe thunderstorms going into the latter part of Tuesday. That threat could even carry over early Tuesday night before it starts to subside, then overnight Tuesday. So, this is, something we're going to be keeping a very close eye on. And again, there's still some uncertainty with this, and we'll gain some better confidence in this likely as we do extend throughout tomorrow and into Tuesday. So, definitely, keep an eye on the forecast and stay tuned with us here. WTOV9 Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist, of course, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Exline. Actually, it would not be in tomorrow. Excuse me. It's Amanda Verrier. So make sure to stay tuned with Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Amanda Verrier tomorrow morning. And I'll be right back here tomorrow evening for the latest as well. So definitely going to be a good idea to stay tuned to that forecast as we go into Tuesday. Obviously hoping for the best at this point, that that the conditions are not looking as favorable for severe weather going into Tuesday. But as it stands now, unfortunately, this is the potential that we have looking ahead into Tuesday. Diane says, love the sunshine, watching from Calcutta. Well, thanks for tuning in. It was gorgeous today, wasn't it? And the thing is, we get the same, it was pretty much the same weather tomorrow. Again, the difference is it's even warmer, but a lot of sunshine again tomorrow as well. Pamela, hello to you. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Let's see. Richard saying, is it going to rain during the St. C versus Harrison game Tuesday? Yeah, we're going to be watching for it later in the day Tuesday. I'm sure we're going to be dealing with some rain. So yes, I'm sure we're going to be dealing, unfortunately, with some rain. And those thunderstorms can cause quite some delays later into the day on Tuesday. Shelley saying, praying for no storms. I'm with you. Hopefully that, the severe weather risk will lower as we go through tomorrow and into Tuesday. But as it stands now, unfortunately, that potential is there. And even a pretty good potential, unfortunately, to deal with severe weather into Tuesday. That's really at this point what all eyes are on going into Tuesday. By Wednesday, like I mentioned, the overall potential for rain's going to lower. I still say it couldn't rule out at least a shower on Wednesday, but it does look drier with respect to what we're going to see later into the day Tuesday. And then by Thursday, we'll likely pick back up. We'll deal with some more showers and thunderstorms. And then we can see some showers linger into Friday. And then we'll see that risk fall back off. And ultimately, this coming weekend, it's similar with respect to what we have for this weekend. And that's just the fact that we saw, we're seeing a cool down again. So the coolest days will likely be again this next weekend, just like what we have for this weekend. So it's unfortunate in that regard to deal with some of these warmer temperatures throughout the week. It's some nice days. I know, today was very nice as well, but these warmer temperatures certainly coincided with the week, and we're getting into that pattern that we can get in sometimes where, following a similar in terms of the temperature trends where we're trending back cooler again going into next weekend. Shane says, will it rain on Saturday? No, we should be good. We should dry up for the weekend. And we should stay dry. I think we still can have some showers lingering Friday, but I think those will be tapering off by the time we get into next weekend. And we still could deal with some lingering cloud cover Saturday, but by Sunday, we should get back to a lot more sunshine. And again, overall, it's going to be cool again, likely for the most part for next weekend, but certainly warming up here over the next couple of days. Our warm days, again, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday are our warm days. Looking ahead over the next week, that's when we'll see temperatures near, if not into the 80s. We'll deal with some thunderstorms Tuesday into Thursday. And again, if you're just tuning in, unfortunately watching with the potential for severe thunderstorms later into the day Tuesday, and we'll gain better confidence on timing and the likelihood of severe weather in general as we go through tomorrow. So make sure to stay tuned for the latest leading up into Tuesday. The timing of that's again later in the afternoon into the early Tuesday night. So it will likely coincide towards that afternoon commute and then continuing into early Tuesday night. That's the time frame where we have that potential to deal with some severe thunderstorms. And what makes this potentially significant is the fact that, what we don't deal with too much here in the Ohio Valley is the potential for some large to very large hail. As it stands now, not that this is going to be widespread, it would likely stay, isolated, but, it can't be ruled out that we could deal with the potential for hail up to and maybe even exceeding about egg size, right? About medium-sized egg, about 2 inches in diameter or larger. And, you start to talk larger than that, you get to tennis ball-sized hail and even egg-sized hail. That's some significant hail that certainly can cause damage. And that's what we're unfortunately have the potential for later into the day Tuesday. So we're not taking it lightly, and we're going to keep a very close eye on it. And again, hopefully the risk will lower into Tuesday. But as it stands now, there's a decent chance that we're dealing with some severe weather going later into the day Tuesday. That severe risk will then fall off with a lot of rain chances in general into Wednesday. We're trending cooler, but then climbing back closer to 80 by Thursday. Once we get past Tuesday, then we'll dive into severe potential if we're going to have any into Thursday. Hopefully not, because I think we can see some rain in the morning hours on Thursday as well. So that should cut back on the severe risk, hopefully for Thursday. But right now, we're really concentrating everything, keeping a very close eye on everything on Tuesday before we even get to any severe potential going into Thursday. What's the chance of tornadoes Tuesday? Is Richard asking? It's possible. Rich, it's possible we could have it. I think that if we do see a tornado, it is more isolated, right? And we're not dealing with a tornado outbreak by any means, but it can't be ruled out. So, a tornado is possible. The main emphasis with those storms later in the day, Tuesday, would be damaging winds, and then that potential, like we've been discussing, for large to even very large hail. Those would be our primary concerns. But yes, isolated tornado, it is possible as well. So all threats are on the table with that later into the day, Tuesday. So just yet another reason why we're keeping a close eye on it. And I urge you to stay tuned for the latest as well. And in general, keep weather aware, especially for throughout the day on Tuesday, and make sure to stay tuned. I'll be right back here tomorrow evening to give you the latest with the next edition of Nate at 8. Of course, you can catch me coming up at 10 o'clock tonight, 11 o'clock as well on WTOV 9. And I'll be right back here tomorrow evening, News 9 Live at 5, 10, 11. And of course, you can stay tuned. Jeff is off tomorrow, but Amanda Verrier will be in and keep you guys updated for News 9 Sunrise and Midday. So you can stay tuned with the latest for her going through the first half of tomorrow as well. You're welcome, Rich. You are welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I pray we don't see one ever. I hope not. Yeah, I hope not as well. And I really hope this chance for this very large hail doesn't come to fruition either, because that can cause some significant damage if you're dealing with hail that large. Probably Tuesday, there's no power outage. Hopefully not. Unfortunately, there is that potential there when we're dealing with some damaging winds, unfortunately. Which says there was an F3 in St. C in the 1800s, and Tyson's saying bye. Thank you. Well, thank you. Goodbye, Tyson. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening, and thank you to all for joining me on this Sunday evening. I appreciate it as always. And again, we'll be giving the latest coming up tomorrow. You can catch me right around 8 o'clock again tomorrow evening for the latest on the next edition of Nate at 8, and we'll see just how the severe threat still looks to be shaping up going into the latter part of tomorrow. Again, thankfully, we still get to enjoy one quiet day tomorrow, warm day, and then by Tuesday, our weather certainly becomes a lot more active. So make sure to stay tuned for the latest tomorrow. Don't let your guard down going into Tuesday. Stay tuned. Just keep weather aware for the latest. And of course, we'll continue to give you the latest here at WTOV 9 at Severe Weather Team 9 as we go throughout the next couple of days. So definitely make sure to stay tuned for the latest. Shane says, I hope there's no power out. Yes, I know. I hopefully not as well. I hope we're not dealing with any power outages on Tuesday. Rain all day Tuesday. No, Crystal, it should rain all day Tuesday. I think it's a slight chance we're spotting anything earlier on, and that will come into play then with the severe risk later in the day. Certainly would be good to see some rain earlier into the day, because that can cut back on the severe potential later to the day Tuesday. But I think it's going to be mostly dry Tuesday morning, even going through midday. It's not until later into the day that rain chances are really picking up. So, but yeah, that is going to play a crucial role, I think, in the severe potential overall. If we do happen to see a few of those morning showers continue into midday, it can cut back on the severe risk later Tuesday, and that would be great to see. But as it stands now, I don't think we're dealing with much, if any, precipitation until later in the day, which is why we're dealing with decent chance to spot some severe weather, because we're dealing with some dry conditions leading up into those thunderstorms developing later in the day. So as it stands now, I don't think we're getting too much, Crystal, no, until we get later into the day. I think Thursday is the better potential, and hopefully that does come to fruition, that we could see some rain in the morning as well as in the afternoon. And while we can see some thunderstorms, if we can get those showers throughout the day, it can cut back on the severe risk Thursday. So hopefully that's the scenario that plays out going into Thursday, as it looks like there's better potential there for some rain in the morning as well as in the afternoon on Thursday. Shane, have a great, you as well. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a great evening. Thanks, Nate. I appreciate it. Well, thank you. I appreciate you tuning in as well. And all of you, I appreciate it as always. Thanks for tuning in for this edition of Nate at 8. Again, catch me with the latest coming up here at 10, 11 o'clock tonight. And you can always stay tuned tomorrow morning, News 9 Sunrise, midday with Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Amanda Verrier. I'll be right back here tomorrow evening for that next edition of Nate at 8. And even before then, you can catch me coming up tomorrow evening, News 9 Live at 5, and give you the latest updates on what we could be dealing with into Tuesday, of course, at that point as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Enjoy tomorrow. Soak up the sun. It's going to be gorgeous. And again, stay tuned for the latest on Tuesday over the next couple of days. Have a good night.